Yo, 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 what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Doing great.
I love it.
How are you?
It. I'm doing awesome. Hey, everybody out there in the world, hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. And Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal.
Yay.
Like that 8 decades of steamroller up, Mrs. Weedman, while I talk about the strain we're smoking. We are smoking Ursula Berry BX, grown by our friend Big Earl. Thank you, Big Earl, for always hooking us up with some great flavors and great smoke. We appreciate you, brother. Oh, man. Super good week. And do you want to know why?
Why?
It was our relaxing weekend.
It was.
We did not do any chores because it was our anniversary, 28 years. Happy 28 years, Mrs. Weedman.
Happy, yes.
On Saturday. And then Sunday was Father's Day. Hopefully all you dads out there got some good weed items and good weed smoke and had barbecues and fun and didn't do the lawn. Don't do the lawn on Father's Day.
Some people really enjoy it and find it therapeutic. So, hey, if you did it, I hope you enjoyed it.
I'm just saying.
I know.
No work. Thanks, Mrs. Weedman, for cooking steaks, a phenomenal steak, by the way, phenomenal. And then also cooking for breakfast. Why don't you tell them what you cooked for breakfast while I smoke this? Because this was dynamite.
I made cinnamon roll pancakes that Mr. Weedman sent to me, asking if I would make them sometime. And they're super easy. You don't have to make like homemade pancake batter, but you make a like butter, cinnamon concoction. It's like brown sugar, butter, cinnamon. Put that in a bag, snip off the edge of it so that you can pipe it onto the pancakes before you flip them. And then you make a cream cheese frosting to drizzle over them after they bake. And so the sugar got like caramelized around the edges of the pancake. Good. It was really good. They were really good. I
ate 4. That's how good they were. And you cooked bacon.
And I made bacon. And we had a really good dinner. We had big fat sirloin steaks on the grill. Nothing better.
Oh, man.
So
we meated out. We meated out and carved out.
Roasted potatoes, and we had sautéed onions and garlic and
Baby bella mushrooms.
We had salad.
Oh, so
it was a good meal.
For all you vegans out there, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The kids were both home.
Yes.
It was great. We were all together. I don't know the last Father's Day that we were all in one place. It's been a minute.
Been about 3-4 years.
Yeah. So it was quite nice.
So
it was great.
Very, very nice.
Beautiful outside. Got to sit in the yard.
Yes. Mrs. Weedman got Mr. Weedman a very nice gift for our anniversary and Father's Day. I have not posted a picture of it yet.
I didn't get it for you. It's just for our anniversary.
Oh, both.
You're not my father.
I am not your father. I'm not your father.
You are not my father.
No, but it was a very nice gift. Who did you get that from?
He is from France. His name is Camille, and he is a jewelry designer, and he does hand engraving. So I had Mr. Weedman, his Weedman 420 logo made into a pendant on sterling silver. It's very cool.
It's very cool. I'll post it soon once I get a chain for it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty dope. So Thank you, Camille, right?
Camille Vales.
Thank you, Camille Vales. It was wonderful. So give him a little shout out.
You can look him up on Instagram.
Yeah, his stuff is pretty fire. So I was very impressed and highly impressed with the work.
Mm-hmm,
I don't know how he did it. It was crazy how he got those intricate lines and nuts. When I watched him, you showed me the video that he did on Instagram, and it was pretty amazing. So thank you, Mrs. Weedman.
Sure.
Happy anniversary.
Happy
28
anniversary.
years, and here's to another 28 more.
Yeah. You know how I keep track of what year our anniversary it is? We got married and our son was 3 months old. So he has his birthday first, and then I know what our anniversary is. That's how I keep track.
So good. We're not really watching any shows right now except for a Junior Bake Off, but there's 3 new shows that just came out that I'm super stoked to watch and get back on the new seasons. One is The Bear, which is filmed here in Chicago. The other one is Black Mirror, which you're not a big fan of.
I'm not.
But
I don't love it.
really like it. and then the other one is the Fabulous Gemstones.
Oh, I can't wait for that. That's fun.
So those are 3 shows that are in our wheel house to watch. As soon as we're done watching Junior Bake Off, and the Junior Bake Off season's been really fun. Harry, the comedian host.
Oh my God, he's so funny. I am convinced he's
good.
totally high.
Oh,
he has to be high. He has like slapstick humor and just the funniest expressions and a great way with the kids. He's just the comic relief in the show,
good.
and he just does a great job.
And the kids are really good with him too.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. So I
funny.
enjoy Junior Bake Off. I like him as the comedic effect versus the adult Bake Off, which I like the 2 comedians, but they're not as funny. He's funny.
He's
funny.
funny.
Oh my gosh, he is so
He's
good.
just a big goofball.
And he gets the kids really involved. And this season, especially, the kids were very, very involved. And there's some goofy ones, and there's some fun ones, and some really good bakers too.
Oh my God!
Some of the stuff these young people,
I can't even understand how at the age of 10 and 11 they're doing what they do.
Yeah, amazing. I
crazy.
test Mrs. Weedman's knowledge because Mrs. Weedman's a very good baker, so I always test her on. So I'm like, "Did you know about that?" She goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "I didn't." So, you ready to get the show started?
Yeah, let's do it.
do this. Do you know what mids are?
Midway down the branch,
Mids, yeah,
Kinda,
mid
like
buds, yeah.
buds that aren't the best.
Yes, and we've talked about mids,
Mid-range.
Yes, mids, headies,
Like,
toppers, rags.
They're kind of
We've
like the of buds.
Yes,
they're all right.
We've talked about this on a prior show, but this is just more about mids. So, and a lot of people make fun of mids, telling people you smoke mids, but a lot of people can't get headies or toppers. They get what they get when they go to a dispensary, which kind of sucks. But
well, I'm not going to throw our mids away.
no,
That's half of the plant.
I love the mids, especially for bacon, and for a more not crazy high compared to your headies and your toppers, the creme de la creme. A mid is more of a lower like high. You're not getting the huge THC percentages. You're not getting all the terps either. But it's more of a mellower, lesser of a crazy, stronger high. So I mean, I'm not saying that they're bad. It just depends on who's growing your mids. That's the thing.
That's the secret.
That's the secret. So, for any cannabis consumer, understanding the quality grades of weed you buy is crucial. If you ever wondered what the different grades of weed are and what medium means, you are in the right place. In this comprehensive guide, the article will take you on a journey through the land of moderately good weed, exploring its pros and cons along with other quirky cannabis quality terms that will come in handy when you're shopping for your favorite strain. So what are mids? Mids, the beloved middle child of the cannabis family. When we talk about mids, we're referring to the weed that falls somewhere between the best and the least impressive options. It's like finding a cozy middle ground where quality and affordability meet. Imagine a good B movie. Enjoyable but not Oscar worthy. I thought that was a great analogy of how to explain mids. Also known as medium grade B plus cannabis, represents the middle ground between low grade and high grade weed. These medium grade buds have certain characteristics that differentiate them from other categories on the quality spectrum. In the United States, mids make up a significant portion of the cannabis grown in the country, although there are exceptions. What do mids look like? They have normal appearance, texture, and smell. When looking for good weed, it is essential to look for a variety of colors in the buds. Avoid brown weed without light shades of green, orange, or purple. The buds should never have seeds, mold, or any unusual discoloration. Here's the thing I'm going to say. Every once in a while, if you buy weed from a dispensary, you might get one seed in there. Throw it in the ground and see what happens. You never know. It's a bonus.
It's like a little treat.
Or if you got a south-facing window and you want to put it in your window, see what happens. Germinate it, and then see what you get. Could be a male, could be a female. You never know. But if it's a female, you're going to get something. Quality buds, whether top or medium quality, should be sticky and fluffy rather than dry and brittle. I cannot stand dry and I just had this conversation with somebody the other day about dry and brittle weed. It annoys me when you grind it or you cut it and just turns into dust. Poof. Avoid buds that are too hard or airy. As for the smell, mids will not have the same strong aroma as more expensive buds, but they should have a pungent smell with distinctive terpenes. Always do a smell test before buying and avoid musty or foul-smelling weed. The pros and cons of mids. Pros of mid-grade weed. Let's talk about the positive side of medium weed. Here are some of the reasons you might find yourself enjoying the moderately good weed. Affordability. The affordability. Mids won't break the bank, which makes them an attractive option for those who want to enjoy their smoke without emptying their pockets. Not that you can buy them with the cash you have in your pocket either, but they are middle ground of economy and quality. You'll get decent experience without spending a fortune. Color. We're not saying mids are the emeralds of the cannabis world, but they do tend to be brighter shade of green than regs. The more attractive color makes them easier to see. While mids are not as vibrant as beasters and headies, which we've explained on prior episodes, they are certainly more colorful than the stiff looks of regs. It's like having a bit of diversity in your stash, a cannabis color palette, so to speak, a touch of aesthetic variety in your experience. The high. Don't be fooled by the term medium. These buds can give you a decent high. While they won't send you straight to outer space, they offer a pleasant and enjoyable experience. They're like the middle level of cannabis effects, not too mellow and not too intense, just the middle ground, kind of like the story of the three bears, Goldilocks, right? It was always the just right, right? Too hot, too cold. Just right. Most cannabis grown in the U.S. falls in the medium category. Buds can come separated, not crushed into bricks or bags. The mids contain few stems and seeds, or none at all, and will be green with colorful pistils and orange hairs. You might see some trichomes crystals on them, not as abundant as your headies or toppers, but you will see some. Cons. Of course, as with everything, mids also have their drawbacks. Here are a few. Appearance. Let's face it, mids may not be the most beautiful flowers in the garden. They may lack the trichomes and eye-catching aesthetics you'll find in high-end strains. But hey, beauty is subjective, right? At the end of the day, it's the experience that matters. Might have some seeds. You might have some stems, but you shouldn't have any. Possible presence of mold, though. Here's a word of warning. Mids are sometimes prone to mold if not stored properly. Be sure to store them in a dry, well-ventilated place to avoid mold growth. Your lungs will thank you, and you can enjoy the worry-free experience. A tip. If your buds are moldy, do not consume them. Check. You'll see. If you ever seen a mold on a raspberry or fruit, you know what mold looks like. So just take a look clearly at your buds. Common terms for cannabis grades. I'm not going to go through all these, but regs, or short for regulars, refers to the lowest quality weed available. Mids, short for middle grade, representing quantum leak from regs. Beasters, also known as BC weed, represents the higher quality than low and medium grade cannabis, but are not considered top notch. And then headies are the creme de la creme when referring to high quality cannabis. Mids versus beasters versus regs versus headies. There comes a time for the ultimate showdown. How do these grades of quality compare? From looks to potency to effects to the overall experience, let's break it down for you. Appearance. Regs are usually brownish and may contain visible stems and seeds. They generally lack the visual appeal of higher grades. Mids are in green color with streaks of orange hairs and have some trichome crystals, making them more visible, appealing than regs. Beasters have vibrant colors such as greens, purples, and oranges. They usually have a pleasing shape and minimal stems and seeds, or none at all. Trichome crystals are more visible. Headies are visually striking. The bright green, orange, and purple colors. They are completely free of stems and seeds and covered with abundant trichome crystals. Flavor. Regs are often described as having harsh, pungent taste that can cause throat irritation and discomfort. Mids have a mild flavor profile compared to regs, making them more pleasant to consume. Beasters offer improved flavors over mids with descriptions such as smooth and delicious. Headies provide an exceptional taste experience with the smooth and delicious taste of a wide range of different flavors. Cannabinoid concentration. Regs have low cannabinoid concentration, resulting in less potent experience. They contain lower levels of THC and CBD. Mids have a higher concentration of cannabis compared to regs, offering a more pronounced recreational high. THC and CBD levels are usually moderate. Beasters have a substantial concentration of cannabinoids, often ranging from 15 to 20%. THC dominant strains, they are more potent than mids. Headies are very high cannabinoid concentration with THC levels above 25%. They are known for their potency and strong effects. The effects, some regs generally produce a mild calm but lacks the euphoria with high-grade cannabis. Mids offer a recreational high with effects ranging from mild to more intense depending on individual tolerance. Beasters provide a nice high, often described as a lower body high, where users feel relaxed and at ease. Headies produce a heady high, allowing for increased physical functioning and less couch lock. The euphoric effects tend to override some potential side effects. However, the potency of Headies can produce potent effects depending on the individual. Price. Regs are usually the cheapest option. Mids are moderately priced. Beasters are more expensive than mids. Headies are the most expensive option overall. So that's just some little bit about mids. I mean, I see everyone always making fun of people. Hey, you smoke mids. Some people, that's the only thing they got. So if they at least know what to look for when they're buying mids or to how it's going to feel in smoke, that's what you get. And if it's good for you and you like it, enjoy it. Don't let anyone tell you about your own cannabis experience because it's yours. Your cannabis experience, not somebody else's. Learn what's better for you and learn what you can get for a better price, better grades. But it's your cannabis experience. The term greening out. I've been hearing this term a lot lately, and especially in the Chicago cannabis scene, some of the events we've gone to, there's a lot of nurse practitioners we've been meeting. We've been meeting people, pharmacy people. We've been meeting people that have in the cannabis world, influencers, and a lot of these people have talked about these events and some people greening out. So what does it mean? It's a newer term, newer-ish. I've recently heard it maybe over the last few years. We just call people get fucked up or got baked or they got too fucking stoned and they fucking lost it, So, But what does the term greening out mean?
Yeah, so that's essentially it. Greening out is overconsumption. You're not dying, but at the time you might feel like you are, right? And now that we have all of this kind of more social consumption happening in more public places because of it's being legal in states and people being a little more comfortable with having cannabis when they're out, it also, because the stigma is effectively starting to change and younger generations are becoming users of cannabis, right? So anyway, I'm high, so I'm rambling. Yes. You have to understand what to do. There was a nurse sitting next to us when we were at NECAN, and I don't think she's a nurse, but she provides a service. And she made a really good point because the women on the panel were talking about social consumption. And it's great that you want to throw a party and let everybody get high, but we have to remember that not everybody has gotten high before. And there's always going to be that over-consumer, whether they're semi-experienced or not experienced at all, they just have a bad minute, right? And you have to know how to handle that because it can get ugly. There could be underlying health issues that the person has, and it may be more serious than greening out. So this person spoke up and said, it's not just about being a nurse. It's about being familiar with cannabis and how to work through these situations. The nurse background is good if the person has underlying health issues. Obviously, having medical experience helps. So anyway, greening out. What does it mean? And 10 tricks to help you feel better. At Compassionate Clinics of America, as much as we love cannabis and believe in its medicinal properties, there can be too much of a good thing. Cannabis is a plant that is meant to be used with intention. So what does it mean to green out? As prominent medical cannabis advocate Steve D'Angelo stated in the Cannabis Manifesto, use cannabis for wellness, not intoxication. Greening out is a term commonly used to describe the symptoms and experiences of feeling overwhelmed, uncomfortable, or experiencing adverse effects after consuming too much weed. While every person may react differently to too much weed, when someone greens out, symptoms occur such as extreme anxiety, limb heaviness, paranoia, dizziness, nausea, increased heart rate, sweating, disorientation, psychological symptoms, and sometimes even getting sick and vomiting. These symptoms can be distressing and uncomfortable, leading to a negative experience when the system reacts to consuming the plant. The term greening out is believed to originate from cannabis being the color green and the green tinge someone gets in their skin when they feel unwell or out of sorts. While greening out can be a very uncomfortable scenario, and in some cases a scary one for cannabis users, rarely does someone have to seek medical attention from consuming cannabis. Rather, there are several strategies one can try if they feel like they've had too much weed. Some people may refer to a green out as an overdose, but it's very important, before we go on, to establish a very important fact. No one has ever died from a cannabis overdose, even in extreme cases. To die from a cannabis overdose, no joke, you would have to smoke nearly 800 joints consecutively. So good luck with that. And at that point, you wouldn't die from the plant or the cannabinoids, but rather from carbon monoxide poisoning. You can counteract the symptoms of too much weed. Overconsumption can happen, and it's important that patients who receive their medical marijuana certification with Compassionate Clinics of America and get their medical marijuana card understand and are equipped with some methods to make them feel a bit more comfortable. So here are a few ways. Counteract with CBD. Cannabidiol, or CBD, and THC have an interesting relationship. While THC is often used in the medical cannabis therapies to enhance the effects of CBD via the entourage effect, CBD can be used to counter the effects of THC, as recent studies are showing. Essentially, CBD, through the entourage effect, will help balance the THC and the other cannabinoids or terpenes in your cannabis strain, leading to an overall more pleasant effect. To use CBD in this instance, try vaping it or using some CBD with zero THC in a sublingual or oral product. Drink and eat. We already know that staying hydrated is important. Drinking water or even your favorite fruit juice will help the THC move faster through your bloodstream if you green out. You will want to avoid alcohol. Similarly, eating, especially if you've had cannabis edibles, will help your digestive system move to break down the cannabinoids in your system quicker, allowing for quicker metabolization. However, if you have been eating cannabis such as edibles, tincture, or oil, avoid eating high-fat foods, as these also act as a carrier for cannabinoids and can cause more rapid absorption of cannabinoids. Exercise. If your mobility allows, getting up and going for a run or a quick-paced walk may help you feel more comfortable. Get your blood pressure up. Sweating helps you flush your system out of its toxins and the THC quicker than if you were to just stay crashed on the couch. Not up to leave your house? Well, find creative ways to sweat, like doing jumping jacks, skipping rope, or putting on one of your favorite at-home exercise videos. Chew pepper. How about that? Sounds like an old wives' tale, but chewing black pepper may combat THC due to the cannabinoid receptors of the brain and how other substances in cannabis and terpenes bind to those receptors. Interestingly, black pepper and cannabis bind to the cannabinoid receptors of the brain in similar ways. The terpene beta-caryophyllene in pepper binds to the same parts of your brain that cannabis does. In other words, these two substances interact with the endocannabinoid system in similar ways. Take a hot shower or a bath. One can't deny that a long bath or hot shower always feels fantastic. It's wonderful to feel the hot water, smell soap and shampoo, and feel suds on your skin. And there's nothing like that refreshing out of the shower sensation. If you're feeling too much of a high from cannabis use and you green out, turn on your favorite music or a podcast and take a long hot shower or bath and be mindful of the way you feel in the warm water. Notice the sensations that you feel as the hot water runs over your face. Visualizing the discomfort or the symptoms of greening out being washed away from your body or dissolving like smoke in the air. And go one step further and mindfully take care of your body by smoothing on your favorite cream or body oil once you step out of the refreshing shower. I would say these are distraction tactics. Turn to essential oils. Essential oils aren't for everyone, but they are around us in the natural world. In fact, terpenes are in the essential oils of all plants, including cannabis, giving them their aroma, flavor, and sometimes effects. The terpenes in essential oils are a fantastic way to calm symptoms of overconsumption. Use lavender, which also contains linalool, like some cannabis, lemongrass, rose, or chamomile to start, as these have been revered for centuries in plant medicine as calming essential oils. Focus and forget. Even though THC in abundance can sometimes lead to anxiety and racing thoughts, sometimes focusing on something will help you forget the effects you're experiencing. Ensure you are in a safe space and enjoy a coloring book for adults, draw a picture, write something even if it's silly, read a book or magazine, or simply watch TV or a movie. While you're doing this, do your best to focus on what you're doing and not how you're feeling. Remember, feeling sick from smoking weed is not life-threatening. And drink caffeine. Brewing your favorite cup of coffee, steeping some caffeinated black tea, or a caffeinated soda might help give you the stimulation you need if you're feeling a bit stuck in your couch. Interestingly, caffeine is also a diuretic, making you urinate more frequently, helping your body metabolize and clear the THC faster. You can always sleep it off. As we were told as kids, it'll be better in the morning. So do your best to get cozy and drift off to sleep. We do not recommend sleeping pills to fall asleep during your green out. Avoid oversedation. Just let yourself drift off while taking deep breaths. While you may wake up a little bit groggy, you will start to feel better as the day goes on. And keep calm and carry on. Don't panic. When you feel you've overconsumed THC, whether it's from smoking weed, eating edibles, or consuming cannabis in another format. While traces of THC may stay in your bloodstream and in your fat stores for weeks, the effects of the cannabinoid can wear off pretty quickly, and eventually you will feel back to normal. Some people do get adverse reactions to cannabis because of a condition called cannabis hypermesis syndrome, or CHS. It is a relatively rare condition characterized by recurrent episodes of severe nausea, vomiting, and abdominal pain in individuals who use cannabis regularly. The exact cause is not fully understood, but it is believed to be related to long-term use of cannabis. But I've known people who have had that reaction with short-term, really low-dose short-term use.
Yeah, we did. We
And they
talked
just-
about
yeah.
we talked about cannabis hypermesis syndrome on an episode, a couple episodes, and there's some reasons maybe because people are saying it might also be because some of the pesticides that some companies are using in their cannabis, and they specifically pointed out which is supposed to be an all natural, not all natural, but organic pesticide, neem oil.
Right.
Right. So could be different reasons for that also. So, but continue on, Mrs. Weedman.
The symptoms of CHS can be quite distressing and often occur in a cyclical pattern. Intense nausea and vomiting can last for several hours or even days, leading to dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, and weight loss. It's a relatively rare condition, and most people who use cannabis do not develop it. And it's important to seek medical attention for an accurate diagnosis and appropriate treatment. The most effective treatment is discontinued use of cannabis. That would be a real bummer. It's also important to recognize the importance of intention. There are times when there can just be too much of a good thing. When you experience greening out or feeling sick, that is your body reacting to too much cannabis. It's a sign that you're ingesting too much weed, so slow down. When we provide patients with a medical cannabis certification so that they can get a medical marijuana card in their state, we also encourage our patients to use our resources to learn more about cannabis while exploring different products that work for them. So you should go to mycompassionateclinic.com, and there you can find links. They have clinics in different states, consultants. They can help you get educated about cannabis. They can help you get your medical card. It's a pretty neat organization. So check them out.
Good.
Yeah.
Really good. And I really like what they've been writing lately, too. So, first article I actually used from them, though. So,
it is.
Too, that I did some research. But they have a lot of good articles on there, too. So, home grow. I talk a shit ton about home grow because I believe that everybody should be allowed to grow cannabis if they want, and it should not be controlled or regulated by any government, any entity, anything. If somebody wants to grow a plant, they should be allowed to grow the plant. Just my opinion. Take it or leave it. So, taking a deeper look at home grow in America, there's a problem. So let's talk about the problem. If you run a web search, you can actually find an answer. Even some legislators try to keep home grow out of state legalization efforts. medical or recreational. The reasons. One reason is basic. Some say people grow it and therefore don't buy it. Hell yeah. Just like you grow your own vegetables. You're growing a vegetable so you don't have to buy it. You're saving yourself money so you can spend it, save it, do what you want with it. If you can grow your own food and grow your own cannabis, of course you're going to save money. So, therefore they don't buy it, hypothetically robbing the state of found money, tax revenue. Hence, the states never want anything to do with cannabis. The states arrested people for cannabis, stigmatized it, just beat people down for it, and now they're profiting off of something they ridiculed, beat up, bastardized, chastised, and everything else you could say about it. And now they're making money on it, so they all love it now because it's going into the pockets. Others think it adds fuel to the fire that is the black market. I like to call it the traditional market. It doesn't, as there is no sale, but they will still try to make this claim. We're not talking about the traditional market. We're talking about home grow. It's for personal use, very often for medicinal use. Color of this journal is cynical, but I think these are just thinly veiled excuses to cover up the fact that big canna lobbies, politicians, hard to exclude home grow in new legislation, specifically to try to protect their turf, as noted earlier in the article. Would it surprise you to know that it's a felony with jail time in some cases if you get caught just growing plants in Jersey, even though cannabis has been legalized there? Sad but true. A recreational dispensary-driven state where it's legal to buy, sell, possess cannabis, yet you can be jailed for growing it. It's absolutely absurd and makes no sense at all. Fortunately, certain legislators have figured this out and are working to correct this, although it's still a problem as I'm reading this article. While Jersey currently prohibits home grow, just across the river in New York, you can grow plants at home for personal use. New Yorkians 21 years and older can grow up to 6 plants in their home for personal use with a maximum of 12 plants per household. See, that's dope as fuck. So if you got 2 medical patients or 2 people in the house, you can go double. 6 mature plants and 6 immature plants, even if there are 3 or more adults over the age of 21 in the residence. Note, the laws and penalties in the U.S., state by state, are in sharp contrast to the entire country legalization approach. For instance, in Canada, you can buy it at retail shops, seeds and grow supplies as well, anywhere, and grow it at home. What a concept. As of February 2023, 24 states plus the District of Columbia allow home grow. It's simple. To decriminalize cannabis is to democratize the plant. I think I fucked that word up, but I'm pretty stoned. Period. Buy it, grow it yourself, whatever. According to research analysis, reasons why consumers grow cannabis at home for personal use ranges from cost to access and convenience. I don't know if it's going to say what I'm about to say in this article. It's not only just about cost. For some it is. But for me, it's for knowing where my weed comes from, what's going in it, where am I getting my genetics from, who's reputable out there, what type of soils I'm using, what kind of nutrients I'm using. Am I using all organic or am I using a bunch of fucking shit that's just going to make it grow faster so I can get it out to the public quicker and you don't even know what's going in it? To me, the difference is I know where my weed comes from my basement grow. And the eat's looking pretty fucking good right now. Mm-hmm. And all I want to do is smoke that because I haven't a zen to this plant now because I've actually grown a lot now and I'm actually loving growing, and I'm taking care of this plant every day. There's a day I go by unless I'm not home and I'm out of town for a couple of days. I am taking care of that plant 24/7, 7 days a week, unless Mrs. Weedman takes it for me. But she has her own grow going on right now, and she's got 3 plants outside that she's liking going out and watching. She understands the experience a little bit more now because they're her plants, they're her medicine. She knows what she put in it. She knows what nutrients are going in it. She's watching them where she started them as, from seed. How you feel about that, Mrs. Weedman?
I am excited with it. And I know that you keep trying to have me do it all the right ways, and I just kind of want to let nature take its course because I just want to see the whole thing evolve. And so I'm trying not to interfere too much with it. I just want to see what it kind of what would happen if it was just essentially in the wild. But Mr. Weedman has been preparing my water for me, pH balancing it, adding nutrients. But then I water them.
Yeah, it's the only thing I've done for you. I'm not doing anything else to
it.
you. I'm going out there and checking them because I like.
I was just gonna like hose them down when I water the garden.
You would have killed them.
I know, but I mean, if they were growing out in nature,
but the rainwater is different.
I know there's
water.
Different minerals.
Well, they add chlorine to it. Don't forget,
Right.
and chlorine is bad for your plants. So I run my water through our filter.
Okay, now that you're saying it that way.
So, water that comes from the heavens
it's pure.
It doesn't have bleach in it, or chlorine in it, or fluoride in it. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
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 For rain, if we haven't had rain in Chicago and fucking,
but it's fun to watch.
Yeah, it's fun to watch.
I want to see how big they get.
So about the access, state by state legalization really means city by city. Really, California, where 60% of the voters legalized both retail and home grow, is now referred to as the cannabis desert. Why? At least 60% of the city said no to granting licenses. Crazy. So where is it legal to grow, though, in cannabis in the U.S., home grow? About a dozen recreational, adult use states allow unlicensed growing at home, while another dozen allow it to under varied medicinal rules. Just like here in Illinois, you can only grow it if you have a med card. The states that allow home grow in one form or another are Washington, D.C., Washington State, Vermont, Rhode Island, Illinois, Oregon, Oklahoma, New Mexico, New Hampshire, Nevada, Maryland, Minnesota, Montana, Missouri, Michigan, Massachusetts, Maine, Hawaii, Colorado, California, Arizona, New York, Virginia, South Dakota, Utah, Alaska, Connecticut, which just passed legalization. How is that?
Yeah.
That's pretty fast, right?
Right.
This is Weedman's like...
I'm just messing around.
Oh, shit. Our beloved boomers and seniors in this country are going back to their roots and literally and using medical cannabis. But for some of them that are on a fixed budget, it's considerably expensive.
Yes. So, at a recent trade fair called Cannastock in Poughkeepsie, New York, that's a funny word.
Poughkeepsie?
Poughkeepsie. But when you read it,
oh yeah,
when you look at the word,
Poughkeepsie. Poughkeepsie,
New York. Some cannabis vendors shared their home grow, others shared their company's extensive lineups. We look at it as concierge. Do the G? Is the G in there?
Silent.
Concierge. Medicine. I had to say it till it sounded right. Said Jess Fewer, marketing director for Etain, which has 4 medical cannabis dispensaries in New York. We have water-soluble powder, lozenges, tinctures, and we have sprays because a lot of people want these different alternatives to avoid smoking, Fewer said. More than 3 dozen states have legalized the medical use of cannabis products, but for some patients, it's not an affordable option. Insurers and Medicare will cover the cost for most FDA-approved medications, but those who choose medical cannabis typically pay for it out of pocket. For seniors especially, paying for their palliative drug of choice can be considerably expensive. That includes older customers from the Just Say No generation or those who have respiratory issues. Cannabis can set a consumer back more than $50 of non-reimbursable dollars. We give discounts to veterans. We give discounts to seniors, Fewer said. We want to help people who want to get off of pharmaceuticals and be able to use a plant medicine instead. Monica Bass is in her late 50s, retired, that's nice, lives in Mississippi, and was born with sickle cell anemia. She tried prescription pain meds but was leery of addiction. She describes her pain as strong enough to make a grown man cry, so she uses cannabis. I've been to the dispensary since February 5 times to date, Bass said. That's roughly once a month. Bass knows her church members disapprove of her use of cannabis, but she appreciates the benefits, although not the cost. She says she spent more than $2,000 on products so far this year. Dr. Robert Welch directs the National Center for Cannabis Research and Education at the University of Mississippi. I just had this great thought. What if at like all these senior communities, they had grow houses?
Oh, I just was thinking that myself.
Like greenhouses. And it could be a hobby. It could be a club.
100%.
And they grow weed and everybody's just baked out of their gourds.
Yeah.
Bobbing around in their pools.
Dancing all day long.
I want to go live there. That will be a thing.
I was just thinking that in my head. I'll let you finish.
For older consumers who may be on a prescription cocktail, he said there are additional concerns aside from the financial burden. Even though the research center has been around for 50 years, Welch explained, there's been little rigorous study that would lead to commodification and standardization for patients. Many patients over 50 are already on a whole host of drugs, Welch said, and so there could be drug interactions that need to be monitored closely. Add to that the need for human testing with a significant number of older subjects. That takes money and time, two things many seniors don't have. Let's hope that the studies continue and that insurance eventually covers the use of medical cannabis.
So, what I'm going to say about that is all states who have cannabis legalized, medical, recreational, should allow home grow. And here is the biggest reason why. What Mrs. Weedman just talked about, seniors. If you can have a greenhouse on an assisted living facility or a nursing home or just a, what are they called where your grandparents lived at, where it was just like a cool, like it was like a condominium community for 50 and up.
Like it's independent living.
Right.
Yeah.
Independent living. If you can have a greenhouse specifically for growing cannabis for them, they wouldn't have to worry about the expenses of it all. And it could be funded by the HOA or payments to where, and then you can have a cultivator come, volunteer, and teach them how to grow in a greenhouse, and how to cure it, dry it, and then have somebody come and teach them how to make edibles if they can't smoke, tinctures. And as people are retiring more and more, they have time on their hands to learn how to do this. And it would probably be a fun Zen experience moment for them because they're actually doing something productive and not just sitting in their house watching TV. They're attending to the plants. They're attending to watering. They're attending to the soil mixtures. Maybe you could teach them how to make compost and teach them how to make soil, different types of soil to be able to add to their cannabis plants. So you're giving them life. Just what I truly believe, that cannabis is a healing plant, not only just by using it, but by growing it. It is a healing plant. It all around effects of it all. It does soothe you. It does keep you calm. I don't ever get frustrated with my plants. I enjoy just watching them and learning and touching and smelling and looking at the different weeks, how it grows. And this is something that, I think I'm going to talk a lot more about. And especially in states that are already medically and recreational, but also states that aren't right now. Think of your older generation, the people that are still that need something, that need to have, they still have a lot of time in their life. So give them time to be able to do something that's enjoyable, gardening for cannabis. Mm-hmm. And then they can also maybe sell it as a caregiver program to other facilities that don't have the capability of doing it. And then they have somewhat of an income to help. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I have a lot of ideas. Whether or not people listen or not is is the thing. So, Americans say cannabis is safer than alcohol and cigarettes and less addictive than technology. I think that's great. I think it's awesome. Over 100 pharmacies line up to sell medical cannabis in Georgia, according to new rules. Residents of Georgia will soon have more options for purchasing cannabis oil for treating chronic illnesses. The Georgia State Board of Pharmacy has released a set of regulations under which independent pharmacies will sell cannabis oil to patients registered in the Georgia Department of Public Health Registry. I don't know how I feel about that. So I really don't. And if you have that many pharmacies lining up, they just see dollar signs, and that's it. So I posted this, but feds aim to finish cannabis scheduling review this year. Top Biden official tells Marijuana Moment, who I love their website. If you haven't been on there, they're probably one of the best in the industry. Besides Jason from Illinois' New Joint, but he's local Illinois. This is global. So Utah appoints medical cannabis policy advisor. Reboard. Utah. Latest cannabis recall hits Fort Collins and Longmont, Colorado. This is on June 14th. Recall notice from Colorado Marijuana Enforcement Division. Kind Care of Colorado and Fort Collins and Longmont Dispensary elevated sold potentially unsafe cannabis flower, shake and pre-rolled joints from February 10th to June 6th of this year. Both medical and recreational cannabis harvests were included in the recall. Oof, not good. No bueno. Top GOP Wisconsin lawmakers say medical cannabis bill will be unveiled this summer amid skepticism from Democrats. Now, here's the thing. Both of you all need to come across the table and work this out and not take credit for who it's for. It's not for you. It's for the people of the state. And if the people of the state want it, it doesn't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. It matters that your people want it and your constituents want it in your state. So come together across the fucking table and don't take credit for it. Just get it done. Period. Wisconsin.
Boom.
Vermont changes cannabis laws with hopes to reflect the growing industry. Governor Phil Scott on Wednesday allowed a bill that makes significant updates to Vermont's retail cannabis law to go into effect without his signature. Crazy. Florida Supreme Court weighs adult use cannabis measures. Man, Florida. Once again, the people went out and got the votes. So it goes on the ballot on 2024. And per Florida law, the state's attorney general must request an advisory opinion from Florida Supreme Court on whether the proposed measure complies with certain legal requirements. Just more political blah, blah. Come on now. You're afraid that this time it's going to pass and you don't want it to. And you should allow homegrown in that state because you're medical and you don't. Fucking big failure. Missouri cannabis program success. The 5 keys to follow. Equitable distribution. Fair competition, low taxes. Missouri's 6% tax rate for cannabis is the lowest in the country, with local municipalities allowed to add an additional 3%. So 9%, but 6% tax rate. That's huge. That's affordability right there. Regulatory enforcement and collaboration. Good job, Missouri. Keep it going. Don't fuck it up. Connecticut adult use cannabis sales surpassed medical revenue for the first time. Adult use sales in May were $11.5 million compared to $11.2 million for medical use. That's $22.7 million. That's pretty good. The average price used for was $39.47, and then for medical it was $35.86. Pretty good. Jersey. And how much does weed cost in Jersey? Cured flower is available in 2 sizes in Jersey. 3.5 grams and 7 grams. A quarter of an ounce or 7 grams of large whole buds are the most expensive items at around $90 to $110. The price of decreased buds, smaller shake, popcorn, mids, the bottoms out for the trim at $25. So convenient pre-rolled joints at 1, 2.5, or 3.5 grams solos, or in a pack of 5, 3.5, or 7 grams, prices are $25 to $60. Cartridges, vape cartridges are $35 to $60. Lozenges are $30 to $90. Tinctures are $50 to $65. Concentrates are $45 to $60. All typical pricing you've seen around the country. You know, some stuff they're a little lower on, some stuff they're about average. Nothing crazy. So Jersey. Alabama. Now, we just talked about them. They were ready to get going here. Now, their medical cannabis rollout stalls after commission freezes licensing. And just when I was going to read 2 other articles, I threw them out because who knows what's going to happen now. I just found out they were going to allow to sell gummies, and the only flavor they were going to sell was peach. Weird. And then the other thing was Verano was one of the first MSOs to get licensing in that state. So it's a reversal, though. The Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission indefinitely suspended the licensing for cultivators, dispensary, and other participants in the state's newly initiated medical cannabis program. The decision came from an emergency meeting held by the commission on Friday. Wow. So a limited number of permits were available for applicants' pools. 12 growers, four for processors, 4 for dispensaries, 5 for vertically integrated facilities under state law, and annual fees range from $30,000 to $50,000 depending on the type of permit. That's actually not that bad pricing, though. Why can Minnesotans soon have up to 2 pounds of cannabis? This was kind of crazy when I read this. It was saying to help stop the traditional market, the black market or illicit market, whatever you call it, but traditional market is what I call it. Also, because people have an opportunity to home grow up to so many plants that they felt like they can get up to 2 pounds with their home grow, which is possibly true with their allotment of how many plants they can grow. But 2 pounds, 32 ounces. It's so they wanted to decriminalize as much as possible in Minnesota. So they also wanted to make sure that we had an ability to control the traditional market. We wanted to make sure you were allowed to possess the amount that you could grow. That's cool. So you can grow up to 2 pounds, man. I'd be fucking growing mass weed if I had it. Which you could kind of almost do here. Kind of. Massachusetts Cannabis Commission considers new rules for veterans' access to medical cannabis. I think all veterans should get free weed. They should all get free weed. University of Mississippi got awarded now by the National Institute of Drug Abuse, has awarded the University of Mississippi a new 5-year contract and $2 million worth work order for the cultivation of cannabis and related materials for research. They just keep on rolling. They're the oldest. They've been fucking doing it forever, since the 60s. They have this on lockdown. Craziness. I'm not a huge United Airlines flyer. I do the other one, the Southwest, because it's closer. I don't like to drive to fucking O'Hare, but I can go to Midway. So I use fucking Southwest. But workers at United Airlines was fucking killing it, huh, Mrs. Weedman?
Yeah.
They were plugging away.
They allegedly made $10,000 a week stealing pot from luggage. 2 United Airlines cargo
before
agents.
You go any further,
yeah.
10,000. They were stealing weed out of luggage and making $10,000 a week.
A week.
Just think about how much weed they were fucking
Exactly.
stealing from the fucking luggage out of people.
Yeah, if they were a little smarter, they'd steal about 5,000 a week, so they wouldn't get caught. Or lugging shit out in bags.
How much weed is going through the airports?
Yeah. Yeah, right? That's the funnier part. So 2 United Airlines cargo agents at San Francisco International Airport orchestrated a years-long scheme to steal weed from departing passengers' luggage and then raked in as much as $10,000 a week selling the contraband, the feds said. Joel Lamont Dunn was described as the mastermind and Adrian Webb, his right-hand man, behind the brazen ring involving other cargo agents at the airport, according to a criminal complaint filed in the U.S. District Court of Northern California on June 9th. According to the feds, an informant who had knowledge of the conspiracy to steal weed was working alongside Dunn and Webb as a ramp cargo agent when the alleged scheme was hatched in 2020. Schemers. The informant told the feds that Dunn approached them to assist with the stealing pot from the checked baggage at SFO. The informant was paid around $2,000 in cash per shift or more if large quantities were taken that day, according to the criminal complaint. The informant told investigators that Dunn was the leader of the operation, while Webb appeared to be his right-hand man and gave directions when Dunn was not around, according to the complainant. The 2 have been charged with conspiracy to distribute and control substances and released on bail. Dunn's bail was set at $75,000 and Webb's at $50,000, court records show. A trial date has not yet been set. Dunn and Webb were not immediately available for comment. The Post sought comment from United Airlines, and the pair surfaced on the Fed's radar after they were robbed at gunpoint in the employee parking lot of the San Francisco International Airport near their personal vehicles, according to the complaint. Video surveillance footage showed shortly before the robbery, Dunn and Webb and other employees moving black trash bags. I mean, come on, like they didn't think they were going to get caught. Black trash bags out of the secure area, consistent with a weed theft or with their weed theft scheme. according to the criminal complaint. In October of last year, the feds, acting on a tip from other sources, intercepted 2 individuals who exited the secure area of the airport with a cart carrying 2 large boxes and a large black plastic bag on top of the boxes. They were just brazen, like, duh. Like there's not cameras everywhere. And headed to the G side of the International Garage, the complainant alleged. Federal investigators uncovered 30 pounds of marijuana, it was alleged. The 2 individuals who were intercepted were frequently seen with Dunn and Webb in surveillance footage, according to the complaint. So, sorry guys, but you'll have to buy it or grow it for yourself for now. Your scheme is over.
Schemers. This always reminds me of the Joker.
I mean, like I said, if they
Schemers.
were stealing maybe not so much of it, they wouldn't have gotten caught.
Greed.
They got carried away.
They got greedy. But just think about how many.
They're at an airport. There's cameras everywhere.
Suitcases they went through.
I know,
though.
and everybody's stuff that they're pilfering through to get that.
Oh my gosh, crazy!
God.
I wonder how many like dirty underwear and
Ew.
they went through, and maybe some
They didn't
like
care. They were just
maybe
looking
some
for
sex
weed.
toys and stuff.
They probably found all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm sure they were probably stealing more than weed.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
If they
But
were
you know
going
what,
through all the
though?
bags.
Maybe they weren't because they were stealing the cannabis and they really didn't want to get caught.
Yeah,
but then
that's
they got
true.
they got
They
a
just
little
wanted
bit
the
too
weed.
careless. So, but $10,000 a week. And that's just one airport, one
That's one
airline, and them
That's
going
just when
through-
they're working.
Yes, that's what I'm fucking saying.
Well, they had some cohorts. They had some guys
But,
helping.
So $10,000 a week. So it was 4 people doing it.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Crazy.
Holy shit, that's crazy. International news: Aurora Cannabis closing a production facility in Denmark and moving over to Canada because it's too expensive to grow weed in Denmark. It's a huge facility too. I was looking at these pictures. I mean, this thing is like monstrous. It was like, what the fuck, man? That's a lot of money wasted. And a lot of resources wasted. It just amazes me because the cannabis industry is supposed to be better than that, and they just waste so much money and so much resources. How much like lighting and metal, and are they going to break that all down and ship it over to Canada? Probably not. Israelis will have more access to medicinal cannabis and won't need a special license. Good. Czech Republic might push ahead with cannabis legalization, analysts said. The Czech Republic could still move ahead with adult use legalization in some form despite legal and political hurdles and Germany's partial retreat from its plan to regulate marijuana sales. Well, I just hope the Czech Republic, man, make it first. Go quicker than Germany then. Don't wait on anybody. Just do what you do. And don't let the fucking EDU, the EU, fucking tell you what to do. Got that, Czech Republic? Do what you do for cannabis and for your people and your country. Don't let the EDU control you or EU control you. Cannabis legalization in Thailand hangs in the balance. Political stalemate, smuggling, and business challenges. Its gridlock and smuggling hamper the progress of the Thai industry, according to an insider. The first challenge is a political deadlock in the country's parliament, which has impeded the passage of necessary regulatory framework. The second problem is the infiltration of cheaper, higher quality cannabis from the U.S. Wow, isn't that crazy? The U.S. is actually exporting stuff instead of us taking everything in. Now we're exporting it out illegally. That's fucking funny. Undercutting local Thai farmers. American strains are known for their higher THC potency, which appeals more to consumers than the origin of the weed there in Thailand. And Prime Minister-elect raises concerns. Additionally, the new threat of the industry has emerged with the Prime Minister-elect and the Move Forward Party, which expressed intentions to tighten regulations, potentially restrict or control dispensaries and consumption. This shift has raised concerns among cannabis advocates and cast shadows over the country's multi-billion-dollar cannabis industry, estimated at $1.2 billion by 2025. Entrepreneurs seize the opportunity. Luxurious cannabis complex in Bangkok, Chinatown reflects the growing market. Beside these setbacks, Thailand had initially positioned itself as a popular destination for international travelers seeking the enjoyment of cannabis. We'll see what happens. Come on, Thailand. I keep on saying it. Don't fuck it up. This is a great story. I posted this the other day, and I just like it because it's a mother and son working together to create something to help the cannabis world. Take it away, Mrs. Weedman.
Yeah, mother and son create a reverse edible chocolate for soft landing from a cannabis high.
Does it
I
make
think
you
this
walk
is
backwards?
Pretty cool.
Does it make you walk back? It reverses you?
You reverse everything. This is in Boston. The legalization of recreational cannabis in Massachusetts has more people than ever experimenting with cannabis. But with that experimentation can come a high you may not like or expect. A mother and son team from Boston believe they may have the solution, called soft landing. I like to describe it as a reverse edible, said recent Cornell University graduate Eli Stoloff. Where a normal edible brings you up with THC, soft landing brings you down. Stoloff says during his time at Cornell, he heard stories of students taking edibles with no easy way to come down quickly. It's because of the delayed effect of edibles, Stoloff told WBZ-TV. Toad. You eat a gummy bear, wait 10 minutes. I haven't felt anything. And you eat two more. An hour later, you're on the bathroom floor wondering where you're at. Stoloff and his mother, Alice Stone, developed a chocolate bar they say gives cannabis users more control over their high. Stone is an entrepreneur with a background in non-traditional methods of healing. Together, they discovered a medical journal article describing a naturally occurring molecule found in a number of herbs and spices that could reverse the effects of THC, the psychoactive ingredient in cannabis. After a lot of trial and error and tinkering, we came to the final formula of the best way to deliver the maximum amount of this molecule, Stoloff said. They took the next step and had a medical survey conducted on soft landing, which found 80% rating it effective or very effective. Sean Hope, the co-founder of Yamba Market in Cambridge, is now an investor. He has tried the chocolate out for himself. It really balanced me out, Hope told WBZ. I felt the impact right away, and my conclusion was, it works. Stoloff and Stone believe they found the right chemistry for the future. I think we've got a winner here, and I feel like together we can be unstoppable, Stoloff said. Next up, soft landing is nearly set to hit the consumer market and remains active in looking for its next round of investors to scale production.
I hope it works out. I hope they can like distribute across the whole country.
Yeah.
Just for that, we talked about greening out, and for people that overconsume edibles, and we know what it can do to people, and we've talked about it hundreds of times on this show. But if this actually truly works, this can be a breakthrough product for the cannabis industry to help people who don't understand consumption.
Yep.
You know, so good luck. Hopefully they do well. Send us some. See if it works. Why does music sound so good when you're stoned?
Because music is always good, and then when you're stoned, I don't know. It like elevated it.
Well,
tell me why.
Listening to music when you're stoned is one of the greatest pleasures in life. A familiar song can suddenly sound fresh, lyrics and meanings become clear, and the music takes on a dimension you've never noticed before. Is there a scientific explanation for this phenomenon? Let's find out. Researchers have identified several reasons that cannabis can enhance the perception of music. Cannabis can have a profound effect on the perception of time, and time is an essential element of music. Not only can weed make it seem like your favorite song is going on forever, but the space between the notes can also seem stretched out and reveal hidden details and patterns. Additionally, echo and reverb can enhance the perception of time and space, which might explain stoners' trippy music, their love for it. One of the studies from 1974 found that hearing above 600 hertz can improve after consuming 6,000 hertz after consuming cannabis. In other words, you become more sensitive to higher sonic frequencies. So after getting high, also because high frequencies provide the brain with information regarding the spectral location of source sounds, cannabis can have the effect of enhancing the stereo field and clarity of the music. One participant in the study said, when I'm stoned, it sounds like they move backwards and forwards in my head, so I experience a beautiful three-dimensional sound in space. Another study found that cannabis consumption improved participant speech perception rate. Some participants reported that pot could help them out understand the lyrics more in songs that they couldn't understand when sober. Researchers also found that around half of the subjects who consumed high doses of cannabis experienced synthetic associations, such as sounds being synchronized to colors or visual images. In yet another experiment, researchers monitored the brain waves on subjects who were listening to music while stoned. The scientists saw increased alpha wave activity on the EEG scans of stoned listeners. This increased the alpha wave activity, which is similar to the gifted individuals performing it. Problem-solving task and intelligence studies. The studies also found that combo of cannabis and music stimulated the right hemisphere of the brain, the side responsible for emotions, intuition, and imagination, which may well explain some of the powerful emotional connections reported by music-loving stoners. But you don't need to fully comprehend the science behind cannabis to truly appreciate its effects. Just kick back, get high, throw on a record, and enjoy. Pretty good. Mm-hmm. I guess we love going to live music events because you do really feel it. Listening at home is great when you have lights on and you're smoking a bowl and you got good speakers or a good record or whatever you're listening to. There's that overall experience at home that you feel too, and you can actually hear the words clearly and understand it like it said. But going to a show, you like feel it. There's something different about going to a live show.
Oh, yeah.
And you just feel like, what is the one thing you always say when we go to an EDM show? Yes, we're 50, and yes, we love EDM. Okay?
I like when it's so loud that my nostrils vibrate. It
You
feels
also
like I have a
love it
bloody
when you
nose and my
feel it.
ears are bleeding.
You also love it when you feel it in your heart, you always say, when you feel the bass hitting your heart.
Oh, yeah. You're like, your heart syncs up with the music.
Yes.
I love it.
We are those 50-year-olds dancing in the front row.
That's okay.
Having a good time.
That's okay.
Why wouldn't it
I'll
be
be the 70-year-old that's there too.
Doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'll be coming out there with my walker, dancing and throwing it on the ground, going, hell yeah, let's break.
They'll be jealous because you have a seat when you need to take a break.
Oh, shit. Mrs. Weedman, that's the end of the show.
Boo-hoo.
You got anything else to say?
Have a great week, everybody. Have a great week. Stay well. What's going on in this world? I don't know. Stay well.
A lot of fucking heat and fires right now.
Be
Good
kind. Lord. Preserve the peace. Smoke some weed. Have a good week.
Go out there and enjoy your life, everybody. We love you all. Thank you for listening. Make sure you check out 8decades.com, Mrs. Weedman's baby. And we love you all out there. As Paulie always says, smoke smart. Puff, puff, and away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.